They showed up at my door like vultures, eyes sharp, smiles stretched too tight to be real. It had been only 2 days since the funeral. I was still hearing my grandmother's voice in my head, still smelling my grandfather's cologne on the coat I hadn't washed. The lawyer's words were still ringing in my ears when my family sat me down in the living room, their bodies leaning forward like predators ready to pounce. "The estate is too big for you to manage," my uncle began. "It belongs to the family," my aunt added, as if I wasn't part of it. $26 million. Land, stocks, the house my grandparents built brick by brick, all left to me. I told them no, calmly, firmly. That night they threw my clothes into trash bags and dumped me on the curb. No goodbye, no shame. I walked away without looking back. My grandparents' house waited for me, a fortress of memories, and now, my home. We used to eat Sunday dinners together, laughter spilling over the table, my cousins fighting over the last slice of pie. I believed, stupidly, that blood meant loyalty. The cracks started showing when my grandparents' health declined. They stopped visiting unless there was something important to discuss. Important usually meant money. When the accident happened, grief didn't even have time to set in before they started circling. I was the quiet one, the one who didn't understand the business. They thought I'd hand over everything without a fight. They didn't know me at all. Moving into my grandparents' house was bittersweet. Every corner held a memory. The creak on the third stair, the rose bush my grandmother babied through winters. On my second night there, I noticed a shadow in the driveway. My cousin, trying to jimmy the lock on the side door. I watched from the upstairs window until he gave up. The next morning, I found my aunt at the front gate with a man I didn't recognize, a real estate agent. She claimed she had the authority to sell the house. She didn't. That's when I knew. They weren't going to stop. I didn't rage. I didn't call them thieves. I called my lawyer. I had the deed, the will, and the law on my side. But legal power wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel the weight of what they'd tried to take. Step 1, security. Cameras in every corner, motion sensors, a guard dog. Step 2, paperwork. I moved every asset into a trust, locking it so tight not even I could withdraw without a 90-day notice. Step 3, allies. My grandparents had friends, old, powerful friends. People my family had no idea I still kept in touch with. I called in a favor. It was barely noon when I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. I opened the door to find my entire family standing there. They didn't knock. They pushed past me, voices raised. "You can't keep this place. We're here to take what's ours." I let them talk. Let them fill the room with their venom. Then, as my uncle stepped toward me, the sound of another car pulling up cut through the chaos. A black SUV, windows tinted. The kind of vehicle you see in political dramas right before everything changes. The door opened, and out stepped Judge Harrison. Retired, but still a man who made grown attorneys stutter. My grandparents' oldest friend. Beside him, 2 off-duty police officers I'd hired for the day. My family froze. Harrison's voice was calm, almost bored. "This is private property. You're trespassing. I suggest you leave before we make it official." The blood drained from my aunt's face. My uncle's mouth opened, then closed again. One of the officers stepped forward, hand resting casually on his belt. "You heard the judge. Off the property. Now." They left in silence. No shouting, no threats. Just the shuffle of defeated footsteps. 2 days later, each of them received a formal cease and desist. Any further harassment would lead to charges. I knew they'd hate me for it. That was fine. Hate is easier to carry than fear. A week after that, I transferred a small portion of my inheritance, just enough to make headlines, to a scholarship fund in my grandparents' names. Every article about it included a smiling photo of me in front of the house. The message was clear. I wasn't just keeping it, I was honoring it. People think revenge is fire, a quick, consuming blaze. It's not. It's ice. Slow. Controlled. Enough to freeze someone where they stand, to make them see exactly what they've lost and know they can't touch it again. The house is quiet tonight. The rose bush is blooming early this year. I think my grandparents would be proud. And my family? They can keep their silence. It's the only thing they have left.